Hello everyone, back to our latest Star Wars video. So we're several hours on now from the world premiere of The Rise of Skywalker, and there's been further press screenings, I believe, in the last few hours. We haven't yet got any official formal reviews. We are still within the embargo period where publications are not allowed to issue their official reviews for this film. That should expire, I think it's going to expire within the next 5 or 6 hours. So then we will get an absolute deluge of reviews hitting the internet, but at the moment still no reviews at Rotten Tomatoes. We have got several tweets though that we can look at. General reaction has been very mixed so far, it has to be said. And I'll talk you through some of those tweets that have appeared in the past few hours for you very shortly. Just to say that if you're enjoying the Star Wars content on the channel, then please like, share and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you think. Right, so this is RottenTomatoes.com. This is the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker page, and so far we have no critical consensus because there have not been any reviews released. So we're still waiting for our first reviews to drop at Rotten Tomatoes. We have though got several tweets that we can go at. So the first one is from John Campion. Now, John Campion is one of the biggest shills out there for Disney's Star Wars. So, everything so far that Disney has done with Star Wars, John Campion has absolutely loved. Bit mixed, though, with his reaction to The Rise of Skywalker. So, John Campion is saying, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker reaction. There are a few big, great moments, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to love this movie. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them. Hopefully I'll like it a little bit more after I see it again tomorrow. John Campion wrote that earlier last night, UK time. So I assume he'll be seeing Rise of Skywalker later today, but certainly doesn't sound overly impressed with it. The next one is somebody called Perry Nemiroff. Hashtag Rise of Skywalker has a bumpy start but finds its footing, and when it does it flies, especially the third act. Dug the conclusion of certain key storylines, some of which I didn't think I wanted. Random big likes, the use of Rey's theme, lots of lightsabers, and D.O. Not sure what that stands for. Hashtag Star Wars. So, John Campion, a little bit mixed. Perry Nemiroff sounding more enthusiastic. This is Christian Harloff saying lot to take in with Rise of Skywalker. It is a big adventure, lightsaber adventure I hoped for. A few things I still wonder if it was necessary, but it was a very satisfying end to this new trilogy. So, again, relatively positive from Christian Harloff. Eric Davis says, epic, all of it. Hashtag The Rise of Skywalker is a terrific finale that is just stuffed with so much of everything. Action, adventure, answers, humour, heart, love and grit. I spent the second half with tears in my eyes. A wonderful way to end the Skywalker story. So that very, very positive from Eric Davis. I'm not sure who Eric Davis is, but very, very positive, and he has a little bit more. There was some yelling, yeah, JJ during key moments, and it was hilarious. Lots of big reveals, tremendous action. In my opinion, Poe steals the movie, as does Adam Driver. Both were favourites of mine. Also credit to unsung scene-stealing heroes of Rise of Skywalker, Babu Frick and D.O. Great new additions. Another thing I didn't mention, Billy D crushes the return of Lando. Very, very positive there from Eric Davis. But the next one, much less so. Mike Ryan. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is certainly the most convoluted Star Wars. There is a lot I liked, but the first half gets so bogged down with exposition and new plot and doodads and beacons and transmitters, it feels like it should have been 3 movies on its own. Much less enthusiastic. Eric Einsberg says, there is good in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, but there is more that is disappointing. There are a number of choices that just don't track, fan service that doesn't work, and ignore details that are missed. I'm bummed. Hashtag Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. I don't think he added any more. We've also got William Mullally. The Rise of Skywalker is uninspired, a real shame to end 42 years of storytelling on such a perfunctory note. It tries to make up for its lack of great ideas with many okay ideas, hoping that that'll somehow make up for it. You'll enjoy it in moments, but you'll forget it all very quickly. And Chris Evangelista, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, an absolute mess from beginning to end. A clunky, rush script sinks a few bright spots. And then finally, Griffin Schiller. So, The Rise of Skywalker has not sat well with me. Rewatch only affirmed this. So, as I say, there was the world premiere last night, UK time, and there have been further screenings for press people through the course of today. So, continuing that, rewatch only affirmed this. I'll go so far as to say I actually don't like it. There are bright spots, no doubt, but the worst thing a Star Wars film can do is make me feel nothing, and I felt nothing both times. He's seen it twice, and he really doesn't like it. Griffin Schiller also says, we're dropped into the middle of a narrative that's playing catch-up to overturn everything from The Last Jedi. Everything is rushed, workmanlike, and a trilogy worth of plot is crammed into the final film. There's been no direction throughout the course of this trilogy. Yes, that's exactly right, Griffin Schiller. He concludes, each installment feels so detached from the last. Such a weird series of movies, and a trilogy and as a trilogy is more like fan fiction. What a disappointment. So, fair to say, a very mixed reaction so far with these early sort of, they're not reviews, but they're sort of tweets that are from professional critical people who will be writing up reviews, I would have thought, in the next day or so, if they haven't done so already. As I say, we are in an embargo period for the next few hours, but within around, I think it's going to be around 6 to 12 hours, the embargo period will expire, and then all the reviews will be appearing very rapidly online. So it's a mixed bag. There are a few there that are quite positive, but I think overall the reaction on Twitter so far has been quite disappointing, really, much more so than I remember for either The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi. Those seem to have very good early responses, and were eventually followed by really positive reviews. I think this is actually going to be much more. I'm a bit surprised about this. I'm expecting Rise of Skywalker to carry on from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, have very positive critical reviews. I've got a feeling now this may be far more mixed than the previous two films. I think at Rotten Tomatoes it's going to struggle to have a 90% fresh rating as the last two installments have done so. It may be in the 80s, possibly even in the 70s. So I think overall it will still probably be positive with critics, but clearly we can see there's a very mixed response so far, and quite a lot of negativity out there about this film. A lot of the early criticisms seem to be focusing on the fact that there is a lot of exposition in this film, lots of scenes setting up what's going on, And that is primarily the fault of the previous two films. The problem with that this film has, The Rise of Skywalker, is not only does it has to do three things. It has to round off the overall Star Wars saga as well as the sequel trilogy. So it has to be a bookend to everything that's gone before. It has to work in its own terms, it has to be entertaining as a film in its own rights, and it also has to set everything up, because the failure of The Force Awakens, and particularly The Last Jedi, to not set anything up has left this film needing to explain what's going on, because with the third film, I've talked about this in the videos on the channel, and we're at the third film, we still don't know anything about our leading characters, our new characters. We still don't know anything about Rey, about Finn, about Poe. We know a little bit about Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, but not a huge amount. We don't even know a huge amount about him, really, but we don't know anything about our new characters. We don't know what the broad setup is. We don't know what the First Order is trying to achieve, what their goals are. We don't really know what the Resistance are trying to achieve either. We don't know what the political setup is in the galaxy far, far away. We're at the third film, and it has to explain to the audience what's going on, because the other two films have failed to do that. So obviously we're going to have a lot of exposition. That's what the early criticism seemed to be focusing on more than anything else, just the sheer amount of information that you are overloaded with in this film. And it was always going to be the case that this would happen with this film, due to the failure of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi to set things up. Everything should have been set up by this point, and we should just be able to go off into our third and final film. But because of the failure of The Last Jedi and Force Awakens, both of which were very critically well received, the critics for some reason seem to ignore the fact that these films were not doing their job of setting up the story. And now they're pushing that criticism onto The Rise of Skywalker, which is a little bit unfair, actually, to this film, because the criticism for that really belongs with The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, rather than The Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker is just trying to clear up the mess that particularly The Last Jedi, but also to some degree The Force Awakens, has created. So definitely a very mixed early response, and we're still waiting for the official reviews to hit the internet. They'll be appearing very, very shortly, and then we will get a very much clearer idea about where the critical consensus is with this film. So at the moment, it's just a few tweets here and there, and a lot of the critics won't be tweeting their views at all. They'll be hanging back to wait until their reviews are released, so they generate page clicks on their websites and that sort of thing. So we'll know by this time tomorrow where the critical response is. Bear in mind the prequels were very, very poorly received critically. I happen to really like the prequels. And then the sequel trilogy has been very well received critically, and I hate The Last Jedi and The Rise of Sky, The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. So maybe this is, for me, maybe this is good, and perhaps I'll come away enjoying this film more than the previous two, because I seem to be away from the critical response a lot of the time. But we shall see. Anyway, all will be revealed in the next few hours where the critics are, and then The Rise of Skywalker will be going on general release across the world, midnight UK time, and then through Thursday and Friday be rolled out across the world during the 19th and 20th of December. And yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what the general audience and Star Wars fans make of The Rise of Skywalker. But we can definitely say that the early responses that we're seeing on Twitter are not brilliant, to say the least. There's a lot of I wouldn't necessarily say very negative, but certainly a more negative reaction than we have had with Disney's sequel trilogy up to this point early on. So we're just going to have to wait and see a little bit longer. The reviews will be hitting the internet within the next few hours, and then we shall know what the critics are saying. about Rise of Skywalker. More videos coming up on the channel very, very soon. Please like, share and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.